Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Home Turf Podcast. My name is Braxton Dore.
And I'm Justin Chen.
So, as you may notice, we are without our captain of the ship, Hunter Mitchell.
Our Lord and Savior.
Yes. Oh, Captain, my captain is feeling a little under the weather after his long weekend in Arlington covering the A&M baseball game.
Actually, he wasn't there. It was Luke. It was me.
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad. So he just had a long weekend to
Yeah.
himself, didn't he?
Yeah,
Oh,
I guess
wow.
so. Well, to be fair, also I think this is probably a good episode for him to, not be in because we're talking about
Talking about the
Aggie
woes of Aggie
basketball.
basketball. Oh,
Yep.
wow. And, we might as well start off on the bad, kick into the men's side of things.
Oh man.
Just recap me the weekend, Justin.
Well, at least we beat Georgia. I didn't get to watch the game because of Arlington, but I looked at the box score. I don't want to be that guy, saying box score watcher, but on paper, Wade Taylor did not have a good shooting game. Also, a notable absence. Henry Coleman did not play this game, and
Yes, I
I
did
do not
notice
know
that.
why. Maybe Buzz has something up his sleeve for SEC tournament, but
Hopefully he does, because right now they are not looking at a best finish right now. I mean, what are they? What, number 7 in the SEC?
oh no, 10.
10.
Three
Yeah,
spots
no,
down.
that's way worse than what I thought. Yeah, it's just not their year. I mean,
Oh.
they have the rebound and the defensive side of the game pretty much locked up from what my understanding is. They're just very lackluster on the offensive side. It seems like if Wade Taylor isn't having a night, their chance of success is very low, very low.
Well, to be fair, in this game, this was I think one of the rare cases where we had an off Wade game, and we still, well, I think we have Boots to thank for that. Where it's a I don't know, it's a very interesting dynamic because you're supposed to or you supposedly have the best guard tandem, especially preseason. You had Wade Taylor, you had Boots coming back for his last year. We're expected to, we basically ran it back. We only missed a couple players, one or two, but I mean, I I really don't. I mean, again, maybe this is the absence of Julius Marble. I really watching this year's basketball compared to last year, it just feels very stiff, and
It's
just
frustrating.
it's frustrating basically because it's like a lot of these games we're supposed to win and we don't, and the games that we're not expected to win, we somehow at least pull some of the. It's very.
I know I've said
It's
this in the past. We play up to our competition and then play down
Mhm.
to the teams we shouldn't play down to. And you've seen that against certain teams that we've played against, and it's just like,
Vanderbilt to
yeah, like Vanderbilt to the Tennessee game. Like, I'm pretty sure those were back to back. And it's just like you come off such a high from beating the number 1 SEC team, which the SEC is dominating right now in predictions for the tournament. We have
Alabama, Kentucky.
yeah, you
Tennessee.
name it, they're in.
Mhm.
It's loaded. It runs through the SEC and the Big 12. So
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
it's just it's hard to see. It's just frustrating to see them play up to a team like Tennessee, to Alabama, to Kentucky, and it's just like,
It's no
why can't you
consistency.
finish it?
Yeah.
Why can't you finish it out? Like, it's very frustrating. Not only as a fan, but as a writer too. It's and it's
I don't know how many times I've seen when it rains it pours.
oh
As a heat.
wow.
I mean, it's just like there's no better way to describe it. It's just, I mean, if you, I mean,
No,
I
exactly.
think that what's it called last week when we were talking about a potential outside looking in for what's it called March Madness. You had to have win at least what's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 2 or 3 out of 5. No wins whatsoever out of the 5, and I. At this point, I think this is an unfortunate luck for the NIT. No matter how good we do an SEC tournament, maybe if we win the whole thing, I guess that can maybe change their minds. But
Even that, I
even
mean,
that-
we were talking about it earlier. You brought up the fact that we did that 2 years ago, and we came
that
up
was a
short.
Good, that's a good A&M team too. Quentin
And
Jackson, like that.
yeah,
Oh
and we
my
were still
goodness,
left out
man.
of March. And,
Mhm.
it's just it's hard with all these different teams that you see throughout the year, and you see the highs and lows. And
Mhm.
I was just researching, about Gonzaga and about St. Mary's, and the lower 25,
Yeah.
lower teams in the 25 poll, and it's just like you see teams that will go on 20 win. They'll go have 21 seasons, and they still will be on the outskirts.
Mhm.
And you're looking at the Aggies, and they're 16 win team with 13 losses.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the gauntlet that Buzz chose this year was
It was a little too
a
tough.
little too
It,
tough. I
it
mean,
was with the roster we had, and the
mhm.
the injury, as you told me with Marble. I mean, it's hard to overcome those things when you don't have as large of a presence, especially in the paint. I feel like we've been lacking that.
Yeah,
We've
no,
got big-ish guards, I would say, in Boots, and Garcia isn't small by any means, but they're not huge. They're not.
I'd say even then, I think we play a lot of small ball. I
We
mean,
do, and
we shoot a lot of threes and we don't make a lot of them. I think
we don't need to be shooting these amount of threes. And I've said
Mhm.
it in the past. We're not a 3-point shooting team.
Yeah, no,
We're
our
stick
yeah.
to the rebounds and the second point shots. I mean, that's what we're
Mhm.
good at. That's our bread and butter.
I don't know. It's a very big contrast from last year. Last year I was, I look back on my snap memories, and last year we beat Bama at home. I was like getting ready to, storm the court. Now this year I'm just like,
Where's the time gone?
at least we're a baseball and softball school.
Yeah,
At least
you're right.
we have other spring sports to distract ourselves with. But
Later in the week, we'll be reviewing them in their upcoming weekend and all their
mhm,
success that they're having. But yeah, it's the sport that gives us more trouble that
mhm.
we're
Unfortunately,
stuck
so
with
yeah.
today.
But on a brighter side, although they have dropped a lot of their games recently, our women's team are at least on the I think first four outs. So we still have a chance.
Yes,
We
we
still have a chance to make
first
it.
team out.
First team out,
Yes,
yeah. We
yes.
still have a chance at least to make it to the tournament. And it depends on I want to say tomorrow if I look no, in 3 days, we have our last game against Mississippi, and then we have the SEC tournament. And
Yes.
if our ladies make what's it called statement, I'm much more optimistic
I'm much more
about
hopeful
that.
about them. They seem like in contrast, they have some of the similar issues as A&M, but
hmm
it feels like they are trying to compensate for their shortcomings. Does that make
Yeah, no, for
sense?
sure.
It's a
Especially
different dynamic.
yeah, especially with the injury to Rogers. I mean, hopefully
Yes. If they can
I
get her back,
that'd
wow.
be that'd be
Wow.
huge, or be right in time. But yeah, no, they what's it called? Actually, they what's it called? I think it's a 3 game loss streak now, and then they lost to Bama. Unfortunately, on senior night.
Hate to see it.
I think I was trying to catch the game, but again, Hollington caught me, and then from what I read very briefly and was told, I think it's like it was a very back and forth, especially in the fourth quarter. I heard some point A&M made a comeback, and we were up, by a little bit, and then we just dropped the ball again in the very end. It's very, I don't know, it's
Very A&M thing to do in the late game, huh?
unfortunate. Oh, excuse me, unfortunately. So, oh my, it's just like at some point. I mean, it's compared to last season. This is a huge success, but it's like
Oh, yeah,
we
absolutely. I mean, last season we were what, bottom four.
oh yeah, no,
It was
it
it
was
was a
bad.
it was a season in the gutter, and this year you have I feel like you owe the success to this season majority to the newcomers, to the transfers, and to
Oh
the
yeah, no, for
the, the
sure.
additions to the squad that have really
hmm
helped make Joni Taylor's ideal team.
hmm Although it's not like a perfect season by any means, it is a huge step up. So I'm excited to see what they do in SEC tournament. Knock on wood. I hope they do really well and go far. I want to see them
Yes.
play in March Madness because I think they deserve a spot. I mean,
I think so too. And you look at the women's bracket, and you see all the headlines that you've seen over the past, especially with Caitlin Clark and everything, and
oh yeah.
you want the best for just promotion wise for this women's team, because they deserve it.
hmm
They've fought back from last year, and even though you see like ninth in the SEC, there's a lot
it's
more
very box score.
teams.
That's for like very box score. If
Exactly,
you
it's
watch the
very
team, it's
boxy,
a lot
and
better.
you see this, and you're like, they can still make a bid. They have a better shot than the men's at this point
Yeah, no, for sure.
in the ninth place in the SEC, and that's just the differences in the men's and women's league, and it's just you see it, and you just hope the best for them. You hope they can get you know more people in Reed, as we've seen, and they keep doing promotions, and they've done a great
Hmm.
job, especially with the notoriety that LSU has brought when they came here, and then South Carolina too. It's like you see these superstars on the court, and I remember you talking about this prior. You know, it brings a new fan to the game that just wants to go see this certain player that they've been seeing highlights for.
Hmm. And so for A&M, hopefully that's Rogers for us. She's been our number one
Exactly.
option, but she's been out for injury. I hope
Still
she comes back
leading the
strong.
team in points per game. Even being gone for
Points and assists. I mean,
wow.
that's your point guard right there. That's your number one.
Exactly. But they're before the tournament, they still have one last matchup against Mississippi State,
Hmm.
who let me get this right. I believe is yeah, two ahead of A&M in the standings. So that's a must win going into the tournament. So you can, have one more statement saying that we can play up to the level of competition, kind of like how A&M men's has done against, you know, ranked teams.
I know for sure. And they what's it called these two teams have matched up prior to season. It was in the midst of I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, I can't hold on. Give me a second. 1, 2, 3, 5 game win streak. They played it at home and at Mississippi State. They beat A&M by 9, and now we're taking it back to Reed Arena. And actually, the what's it called the Bulldogs. I don't know why I was thinking Tigers. The Bulldogs or they were in the midst of a 5 or 6 game losing streak. I getting the colors like messed up right now, but hopefully they. I don't know. It looks like in this in this season for Mississippi State, it's been up and down. Hopefully A&M can at least make the series 1-1, especially at home.
Yeah, you want to even that, and especially when Mississippi State is in that conversation of them putting them in the bubble over us. So you especially want to get that win and that tie against them just so that you can prove like, hey, we came back from, you know, losing prior.
Hmm.
So it's a good statement that you can make, and I feel like it would be a great one going into the tournament, going into the SEC tournament.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And I didn't see that, but also Vandy's in there too for the women's bracketology.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Uh,
a lot of SEC or at least two SEC teams are on, or actually three I guess are in the bubble, but
Gotcha.
Mississippi State and Vanderbilt are last four in, and A&M's for last one out. So if they excuse me, if they win against Mississippi State on Thursday, I want to say Thursday. I can't count my days.
Yeah, I believe it's
Thursday.
well today's Monday.
Yeah, 4 days. Okay, and then
Yes.
if they make a good run for what's called in the SEC tournament, and I think A&M replaces Mississippi State in the bubble or
Yeah.
what's called first
I
four
I mean
in.
I would think you would see maybe a 12 seed, 13 seed, 14 seed
Hmm.
among them, but that would be a much better finish than what than what you saw going into this year.
Hmm.
I believe preseason had us, probably bottom 5 because of what we had shown previous years. But that transfer portal really helped us out, really solidified their, standings now, and now they're trying to, claw ever so closer to the NCAA tournament.
It's kind of a crazy contrast how a season prior the men's team was coming into the season was looked as excuse me as one of the better ball clubs in this country, especially for SEC. And then the women's team was looked at as maybe not as strong, but for the men's team we ran it back. For the women's team, Jordan Taylor went out and got some transfers, and now we're sitting here, and both of them have uh, not vastly different, but for the Aggies, for the men's team, they have not lived up to expectations. and for the women's team, they have exceeded expectations. It's a
Yeah.
very very crazy contrast in my opinion.
Oh yeah, not something we really thought was gonna come into this season, especially with how much hype there was about Aggie basketball men and the men's side.
Oh
So you
man.
just you grin, you grit your teeth, but you also it's a kind of a sigh of relief that you have one side doing what they need to do,
Hmm.
and still I don't want to say competing at the highest level because they both are. And in basketball is not
Yeah, no, for sure.
falling off the face of the earth. They still in IT, but it's something. So you
It's definitely
just
not March Madness, unfortunately.
it's not. But you will have those years, and it's just one of those years that Buzz has to come away from and be like, hey, we need to focus back on what we do best, and what
Hmm.
we do best is not shooting an outrageous amount of threes and missing
And it starts on
75% of
it
them.
starts on defense and everything, just like the small things. And I really hope that that we bring Buzz for another year because I've seen so many comments online
Oh
saying we need to
yeah,
fire Buzz, and
I've seen it too.
I might be
It's
very biased because I'm a big Jimmy Butler fan. He coached Jimmy, but but in terms of like coaching personality, I just love Buzz. He's such a down to earth guy. He's all the players have spoken highly about him. So I really hope like this season isn't his final season with us. I hope he comes back next year. Because I want to see. I just want to see some
I want to
fight
see
next
a
year.
Buzz at least week 16. I feel like we've kind of been like cheated out of that in the past years.
Hmm.
So I really want to see a Buzz Sweet 16 appearance. That would be after that we can talk about getting a new coach, but I want to see that first because I believe he can get us there. I want to believe that he can get us to the Final Four, but
That's all.
we're not even in that
Yeah, no,
conversation
it's
yet.
always wishful thinking for
It
us
is wishful
Aggies.
thinking, but I feel like with this squad, there's still a lot of room for improvement, and there's a way they can get there. They just they need to go back to the drawing board, in my
Hmm.
opinion, with their just offensive play calling.
For sure. It I don't know. It's also the little things. You'll obviously have Garcia with rebounding, but in defense, sometimes I know Buzz loves to play the zone defense, and I love it. I love it. But whenever it cracks, man, I hope they pivot to something else. And then for offense, again, like you said, please don't shoot threes if they're not going in.
God,
Just take it. With Boots, that's why I love Boots.
it's a message to Hayden
He's not
Hefner.
a he's not the biggest shooter, but he shoots it at a what's it called, at a consistent rate. But if that's not going for him, he always him and Wade both have a very good strong
They'll
what's it
fall
called,
back
finishing
on
rate.
their and they also fall them two especially fall back on their talents and on their strengths.
Hmm.
Some of them will I'm not gonna name any names, but a few players will keep trying that one 3-point shot that they just gotta nail, and it's like that's not your shot. Like shot selection is a big thing that this team I feel like has failed, and it's just like
Well, to be fair, for certain players that is like their role, but
it is no it
it
is,
just
but
hasn't been going.
when it's
Just
your
hasn't been going
role
in.
and you can't fulfill your role, that's
It's very tough.
exactly. It comes time to hey, we may need some new guys to fill this.
Either that or I've seen this with I'm gonna bring it to the NBA real quick because of Duncan Robinson because he was at one point like his contract was the worst. He was basically the only the 3-point shooting guy for the Heat, and he was unplayable for 2 years, and then now he's evolved his game to be more of a playmaker. He's not a traffic calling defense anymore, but if some of these players for A&M could also evolve their game too, that it not only helps them out, it helps their team out tremendously. But again, we'll see what the game plan is for the team because again, we're just from the outside looking in.
Yeah,
We
no.
can't really
All
conduct
this
what the
is
team
it's
is.
always just speculation with us. It's always hey, this is what we think. Who's to know if they actually heed our advice?
Yeah. Again, I mean, I'm a very optimist, so I'm hoping both teams make a run in the SEC tournament, and if they get out within the first round, I couldn't care less. As I will be a very optimistic person, so I want to see both teams make it far.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
All right. Well, I think that just about wraps it up for today. Once again, I'm Braxton Dore.
And I'm Justin Chen.
All right, and this was the Home Turf Podcast.